Here we are looking at the potential for us to use cover crops as a mechanism both for soil improvement and also for weed suppression. So just trying to let nature do the job for us, getting away from a constant requirement for herbicides as a means of removing weed growth. So in this part of the demonstration site we have undervine cover crops. The undervine area is the region which has been historically seen as being the most difficult, I suppose, for weed control. It's required a lot of herbicides over many years to try and maintain a herbicide-free zone, or that weed-free zone in the undervine area. We're trying to move away from that with the use of cover crops such as this one, which is a mix of 4 different medic species. Medics being of the same appearance as clovers, but they are medics, the Medicargo genus. They are well suited to the more alkaline soils, and the breeding of them over the years has enabled us to have fairly short growing season varieties, and so in this low rainfall country they will still be able to grow, flower and set seed, and we hope persist year on, year out. And being medics, they are legumes as well, so they'll be putting in a fair amount of nitrogen to the soil in that undervine zone, improving the soil health at the same time as providing some capacity for smothering weeds. Many others more than likely. They have an amount of soft seed in there which will germinate in the first year or two, but there will also be an amount of hard seed which may not germinate for 10 years. And so it takes a while for that seed coat to break down on those seeds, so it does enable that species to persist. So I sowed it with a seeder which I towed behind a quad bike, and I've sown just one row on each side of the vines. So we can see that this is spread incredibly well, coming from that original row which is about here, and then it's spread and covered that full undervine area just from that single row each side. They are a wonderful vining plant, and that vine will now persist as a mulch quite effectively over the summer period, because a lot of the nitrogen has gone into the seed and the seed pod, and so the vine is actually quite a high carbon nitrogen ratio, bit of organic material, a bit like straw coming out of the paddock, and so it won't break down all that fast, so it will maintain that mulch and cover the soil surface over the summer period, which is all, I think, to the benefit of the vineyard and the vines. In this environment we still want to try and get some good information on that. We have installed some dendrometers in this site, and we want to use those to get a better handle on the impact of these cover crops on vine growth. We would expect a little bit of extra water may be required from this medic, but being a winter active plant, we don't expect that to be a big deal. And it's only fairly shallow rooted, so the vines being much deeper rooted will be tapping into a larger profile of water. So as a percentage of the total application in a typical season here, we don't expect there's going to be much in the way of increased water requirements coming from this particular undervine cover crop. Another one we'll have a look at in a moment could be quite different to that though.